exactly what we see. Though it looks like Ross is the better board at this moment. As we zoom in, we'll take a look at Tuan's board. He's got a bunch of lands over there, along with a Courser of Crewfix, a Rattleclaw Mystic, and it looks like maybe a Sylvan Caryatid on top of his deck.
He is ahead in terms of encroachment.
That's true.
We'll say that right now.
That's true.
I mean,
that's a big deal.
First Courser there is in Ross's territory right now.
For Ross, he's got more permanence, which is a good thing for him. He's got a Courser, 2 copies of Sylvan Caryatid, a Dragonlord Atarka, which has been turned sideways, Hornet Queen tokens, along with a Satyr token, and a Xenagos. However, he is not encroaching as well as Tuan is.
No. I mean, Ross is on his heels right now, literally on the board. I mean,
yeah.
The Hornets are way back up. I mean, this is a tough spot for Ross.
Light totals are accurate here between
You can't
Merriam
even
and
see
Nguyen.
his Dragonlord Atarka. It's basically concealed.
It's hiding under a Satyr token.
Yeah.
Because there's no place for it to be. See a little Haven of the Spirit Dragon action here for Nguyen.
1 copy in his list.
Yeah. Top card of Tuan's deck now as his deck slowly encroaches over towards Ross to Genesis Hydra.
He's also going wide. I mean, look at those forests.
That's true.
He's outside the Xenagos right now.
It's not so much about who wins, it's that who can take up the most space.
Right.
I think. Space award.
Well, yeah, there's several goals, right? There's no one right way to do it.
Tuan going to play a copy of Polukranos now. He'll pass the turn back. Merriam will untap his Dragonlord Atarka. Draw a copy of Dragonlord Atarka. Nissa on top of the deck.
Noteworthy, though, that Tuan does not have a lot of mana. I mean, he has 10 or so, but given that it's a Green Devotion Merriam, we're at this stage of the game, he can't go wild with Polukranos next turn. He's not at a spot where he can realistically kill Dragonlord Atarka, for example.
And this turn, Ross could take the opportunity to attack with quite a few flyers here. We'll see. As he's going to reach for Xenagos. Gets a lot of mana. He'll play Whisperwood Elemental. Going to reach for some flyers here. He gets the opportunity to actually play another Dragonlord Atarka if he'd like to kill Polukranos if he's worried about it.
Well, he had more than enough. I suppose he wants to make the attack first regardless, but he had enough mana here where he could have done that after combat if that was his plan. He could have played both Whisperwood Elemental and Dragonlord Atarka. So by playing up front, I'm assuming that wasn't the plan.
Yeah, and that's not the plan at all. The plan here is Manifest Nissa, and then Temple is on top of the deck. And I think this might be a situation here, as Genesis Hydra with the draw here for Nguyen, where Ross is not really overly concerned with Polukranos because, as you mentioned, even though it looks like Nguyen has a lot of mana, given where we are at in this game, that's not actually the case.
Yeah.
That's all board assessment.
What is noteworthy here is Nguyen has a main deck copy of Ugin, and Ross elected not to kill any of the mana last turn. He could have played Dragonlord Atarka to kill, let's say, Rattleclaw, Mystic, and a Courser. This allows Tuan to go into the turn with 10 mana available, which gives him the opportunity to Genesis Hydra for Ugin. Or excuse me, for something like Hornet Queen, for example.
Yeah.
Could have at least forced Nguyen to have an untapped land.
Well, it's time for a big Genesis Hydra now. This might be what can help save him. It'll be for 8.
And that might be the reason that Ross decided to hold back on the Dragonlord Atarka. This allows him to sweep up whatever happens to come out of this if it's something of note.
Whisperwood Elemental is the best he can do.
And that's not going to get it done here. Dragonlord Atarka on its own is going to be lethal, ignoring the Hornets and everything else.
And those will certainly help get it done. So Ross Merriam is going to win game number 1 here over Tuan Nguyen. Green Red Devotion Mirror goes to the player on the left. And that means it's time to get a good look at the sideboards here. and get an idea of what these players are working with. We will start with Nguyen as he'll be on the play. He's got 2 Arbor Colossus, 4 Gaia's Revenge, 2 Mistcutter Hydras, haven't seen those for a while, 4 Nellius Disciple, a Seismic Rupture, and 2 Barrage of Boulders.
This is not a lot to do with the mirror match at all. I mean, Arbor Colossus is an okay threat. It's another big thing to do with a lot of mana, and it's a reasonable answer to Dragonlord Atarka, but the rest of the sideboard is not gunning for the mirror match at all.
On the other side of things here from Merriam, an Arbor Colossus, 2 Gaia's Revenge, 3 Nylea's Disciple, 2 Plummets, 2 Nissa World Waker, and Ugin the Spirit Dragon, 2 Roast, and 2 Seismic Rupture.
We've seen Roast coming in this matchup before. I think the Ugin comes in. We've seen Nissa do some good work. The Arbor Colossus, and Ross may bring in the Plummet here as well. I know it's a little bit narrow, but I saw Brad Nelson do it in the mirror match earlier in the tournament when he played against Ross. Dragonlord Atarka is so powerful and so hard to kill that it's worth having a narrow card in your hand sometimes, just as an insurance policy.
Nice to have access to Ugin in the sideboard as the ultimate trump card.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually, most of the damage done by Dragonlord Atarka is the comes into play power, and then the body left over matters, but it's mostly about the damage done to the board. The Green Devotion mirror match feels like it's the opposite sometimes, where, yeah, you can handle 5 damage spread across your creatures because you have a lot of resources to work with, but you're vulnerable in the air, and 8 damage is a lot. So having answers to Dragonlord Atarka is nice in this matchup, even though you're still going to get hit for the 5 damage. Not dying to it outright may lead Ross to want to put Plummet into his sideboard, or into his main deck, rather.
We've seen a lot of Green-Red Devotion this weekend. We're going to see it again in the finals as one of these 2 players has to win. And a place that you can play this deck, because it still looks to be pretty good, is Regionals coming up on August 1st.
And this is going to be the weekend of the Pro Tour after Grand Prix Richmond. So if you're not qualified and you're living in the United States, head over to starcgames.com/regionals. Find the regional championship closest to you. Whether you're trying to qualify for the Invitational, grind Open Series points, or just play a large cash standard tournament, Regionals is a great tournament.
Take a look at the playmat that's available as well. Free and exclusive to the first 200 players. August 1st, plant your flag. StarCityGames.com/regionals for more information. Should be a fun tournament. Able to keep running these tournaments too because the attendance has been great.
Yes.
States and regionals on Pro Tour weekends have been very well attended tournaments. So I want to thank you guys at home for hanging out and coming to play. And we'll be able to do more sweet stuff like this next year, you have to imagine.
Yeah, regularly getting regional and state championships with, hundreds of competitors.
Yeah.
Great response. And I would suggest having a plan for Green Devotion.
Yeah.
Going to play in those tournaments.
I think that that's a very good idea. Yeah, it's interesting. Brad had written an article about Green Devotion and just saying, this is the fun police of the format right now. I know you guys are going to all try your new cards, and that's cool and everything, but at the end of the day, this is the fun police. This is the, as you said a little bit earlier, takes out the trash type of deck. And I imagine Ross and Tuan and a couple other players have done that all weekend long. Your brew isn't refined just yet. My deck is as normal as it's ever been. Let's go.
What's so potent about the deck is it can play fast or slow. If it's just a pure race to see who does the most powerful thing first, Green Devotion wins a lot of those games. And even in the matchups where it's not about that, or your opponent has responses to your big play, you can play slow and steady Magic. You can just grind people down with Polukranos and Whisperwood Elemental and eventually get to your 7-mana creatures. And decks that can play at 2 speeds like that are very dangerous.
This deck can definitely do that. It's a really good deck, and it's unfortunate that we kind of moved away from the green-white version because that deck was pretty potent. I guess it's fortunate given that it did take a while to win, but
it was I understand it. It's cool if something like that happens once every couple of years, to give a sense of Magic being this huge game and you never know what can happen, but less of that, not more, is what I'm in the market for.
But the splash for red, just showing just how powerful Dragonlord Atarka was. And I remember, that's a card I spelled on Star City Games, and it was not a card that was really beloved. It was kind of really a letdown in comparison to the other Dragonlords. I think a lot of people, especially Brian Kilgore, was expecting more from Dragonlord Atarka.
Well, some of the other Dragonlords like Dromoka and Slumgar and Ojutai, it's pretty easy to just, I'll throw this into a deck and cast it. Once you hit 7 mana, it becomes harder to imagine just throwing it in normal decks and casting it. With that said, it slots in so perfectly into this deck full of mana acceleration.
Well, Tuan Nguyen will be on the play here for game number 2. Ross Merriam does win game number 1. It does look like he's a little bit more prepared for the mirror too, given the sideboard cards. We'll see if he's able to draw them or not. And Tuan, of course, being on the play, huge in the devotion mirror, so perhaps he just accelerates right past him and does something broken. We'll find out. The way, winner of this match is going to be playing against Logan Mize and his white-blue heroic deck, which he has been running rampant on this tournament with. Great deck selection and great build here for Mize this weekend.
Tuan is behind in the mirror match in a lot of subtle ways. He's only got 3 copies of Nykthos versus Ross's 4. He's got a main deck copy of Ash Cloud Phoenix, which doesn't feel appropriate for the matchup. And the sideboard, as we mentioned, had very little going on. Only Arbor Colossus, and that card's not even great in the mirror match. It's simply good.
Both players will take a look at their openers. And we are underway here. It's a Temple to start here for Nguyen. We'll take a look at the top card.
He's also on 2 copies of Genesis Hydra to Ross's 3.
Sure. Merriam with just a forest before passing the turn back. Who's got acceleration first? It'll be Tuan. He'll play a Sylvan Caryatid. Can Merriam match that is the question. That's a Wooded Foothills. He'll sacrifice that. Will Ross go down to 19? And there's a Caryatid for him as well. So the answer is yes, he can match it.
I think on the draw, you just have to mulligan any hand that doesn't have a 1 or 2 mana cost mana accelerator.
I agree. Time for a Courser here for Nguyen. Top card, Nykthos. Nykthos will enter the battlefield. Top card now is Xenagos. Heading back Merriam's way for turn number 3. See if he's got anything crazy to do here.
Looks like he might be jammed up a little bit on lands.
It happens a decent amount to players when you watch them play this deck. There are 24 lands in the deck, but there's also a ton of mana acceleration. So I think you get stuck a little bit. There's a Morph. A Rattleclaw Mystic, I believe, for Merriam. Give him a little bit of surge of mana next turn if he'd like to use it. As Zena goes to the draw here for Nguyen. Forest will enter the battlefield. That'll trigger the Courser. Nguyen will gain a life. We'll see the next card down here from Courser in just a moment. It's a Wooded Foothills. Once again, it might be time for Xenagos. It is. We'll see how Nguyen wants to use the Xenagos here. Merriam with some real catching up to do. Nguyen can go to Dragonlord Tarka starting next turn. There's Rattleclaw Mystic.
And when someone's missing land drops and leaning on mana creatures to be able to play back, a fast Dragonlord Tarka, a fast Pelucranos, those are often just lights out.
Well, to Merriam, we're going to go. He's got some serious catching up to do. Nissa in hand. The Morph a Rattleclaw Mystic. That'll give him a nice surge in mana. That's a land. Let's start off with a Temple of Abandon. We'll see where the Scry goes here in just a moment. Merriam assessing his hand along with the top card of his library. Pretty difficult situation here for him. He's got to get this right if there's any even catching up here.
Yeah, I think Tuan's hand is probably so good here that it makes the decision for not.
Merriam can't get a good look at his hand, but we sure can. We see Pelucranos. We see Dragonlord Tarka. Merriam going to play another Morph and a Sylvan Caryatid. Pass the turn back. It's all a setup turn. But Tuan's already set up.
Not only is he set up, but he's got a payoff as well.
Yeah. He'll draw Wooded Foothills for the turn. Nykthos on top of the deck. He can have some real fun here. We'll see.
Never like to see the Green Devotion player counting.
Oh, you don't like the pointing and the counting?
Yeah, that's usually a, so 1 over there and 2 over there. And
How dead am I? I'm probably pretty dead. Wooded Foothills looks to be the land that's going to be played. So Tuan will sacrifice that. He'll lose 1, then gain 1 back. A basic forest. Gain a bunch of life. A bunch being 1.
mm-hmm.
Nykthos check shows 5 green mana symbols, so it is plus mana. 2 from the Courser, 1 from the Rattleclaw, 1 from the Caryatid, and 1 from Xenagos.
And Tom might be just doing the math. Is it more efficient for me to play Polukranos and fight this turn? Or do I just play Dragonlord Atarka? These are nice decisions to have.
There are worse spots to be in. Though for what it's worth, you have to get it right. You can see Nguyen doesn't know the math as well with this deck as certainly Merriam does.
Yep.
And it is just one big math puzzle as far as how much your spells cast, how you want to activate them, and how efficient you can be with your mana. You really don't want to leave any mana laying on the table.
So Polukranos essentially costs 1 mana here because it's 4, but you get 3 back in the rebate, 2 of which comes through Nykthos, and 1 of which comes through Xenagos.
Yep.
Sure, this turn's fine too, I guess.
Yeah, Polukranos and Dragonlord Atarka. It's just, yeah, just kill your stuff. 2 there, 1 there. Yep, get those out of here.
Solid turn.
Yep.
Some leftovers also.
Yeah.
In the event that Ross fires back.
Ross will draw a card. We'll see how much longer he wants to play on here. Yeah, I didn't think so. Not really too much to be done here when you're overwhelmed that badly.
Yeah. Ross was a little slow out of the gates, missed some land drops, and Tuan had that mana acceleration, a big payoff draw that there's no real response to.
Tuan Nguyen going to win game number 2 here over Ross and Merriam in the Green Art Devotion Mirror. For Merriam, what's important for him, he's on the play here for game 3.
Yes. And I think that, 60 cards to 60 cards, he's got the better end of it. There's so much overlap between the 2 decks, and the most important pieces are the ones that are basically shared in number. So Tuan has access to Nykthos a little less reliably. He has, 1 less Genesis Hydra. Over the course of, hundreds of games, you would start to notice this difference, but the decks are still pretty similar at the end of it.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 3. And the winner of them is going to play against, again, Logan Mai. It's a player who did play in the Players' Championship last year, as did Ross. So if Ross is able to slide through here, it would be a fun matchup to watch. Though, again, I do think that Logan is pretty favored in that matchup.
It is a lot of implications, though, for obviously the Season 3 race for the Players' Championship. A lot of points at stake for Ross and for Logan trying to get himself back in the mix for Season 4 or for an at-large bid at the end of the year. So a lot of points on the line on top of the dollars as well.
You can't forget about the dollars.
No.
All the dollars. Someone who did win a lot of dollars recently. That's this guy right here, Alian Trazi, our Season 2 Invitational Champion. Not only does he have all the dollars and qualifying for the Players' Championship, which could be more dollars, as Brad Nelson showed, but the one thing that really money can't buy, one of these tokens.
Yeah, congratulations, Ali, a well-deserved champion. You can get this token of Ali and his son, Aiden, Angel token, in a variety of ways. First of all, you get it for free when you register for any Open Series event or for any of the 5K Premier IQs, and that's the tournaments that are held Sunday here during the Opens or events that are available at your local store. And all orders from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more, will come with this token.
Season 3 Invitational right around the corner, which means another token will be coming down the pipeline. I'm excited to see what it's going to be. I'm thinking legendary token from Nissa.
It's not a bad choice.
Boom. Unclear how much play you'll get, but it'll be unique.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
And it'll show up a fair bit.
I'm thinking that'd be a good choice.
The thing is, the question is, do you want the token that's evergreen? Angel's a nice choice because even if it's not in standard at any particular time, you know, guys that say draft and treat the Angels, you're going to show up, no matter what the format is. Something like Nissa's token, very cool for 12 months or 18 months or what have you, but is Nissa going to be a modern player? And even if it is, it's going to be flipping over very often? I don't know.
We don't know. I bet Nissa's somehow secretly good in, like, Jund.
Yeah, it's the type of card. It's like when Reed Duke shows up with one Chandra Pyromaster for the first time. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, sure, whatever. All those one of sloppy 2-for-1s are all the same. It's fine.
I know Reed recently said that he really likes that new 4/4 dragon that flies and you draw Scrap to Skullcrap Dragon.
Yeah, Avaricious Dragon or
Avaricious
whatever.
Dragon, yeah. He said
Avarice Dragon.
It's a really good one of in Jund.
Sure, whatever.
You just trade 2 for 1 a bunch, and then boom, you play that as your last card. You get to draw 2 cards
And
a turn.
no one can kill that thing in Modern because you can't bolt it and can't abrupt decay it.
Yep.
We already established that. The Grand Prix we covered, we saw Thunderbreak Regent just do awesome things.
Just destroy people.
What is this all about? Can't kill it.
Can't Kolaghan's command it, can't decay it, can't bolt it, can't nothing it.
Yeah.
It's a thing of beauty. Both these players will lay out their opening hands. Ross and Merriam will be on the play.
If Reed has one in his sideboard, sure. I'm not asking questions. It's fine.
Probably right.
Yeah.
Ross will keep. He'll start off with a Rugged Highlands up to 21. Sometimes you just need that little life boost.
I made fun of this card in Ross's deck when we were talking before the top 8. I was like, why is this not a Mana Confluence? He's like, I don't know. I thought there would be a lot of beatdown decks, and I seem to get burned by the Rugged Highlands coming to play tapped than the Mana Confluence would matter. And this is a matchup where I'm sure he would rather have Mana Confluence coming to play on tapped.
Probably.
Only cost him if he had Elvish Mystic in his hand, but still.
There's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Carry added here for a win. We'll head back Merriam's way. He'll draw a card. Can he do the broken stuff this game? That's the question. Ross taking a long look at the hand here. He's going to go with the basic forest. Ooh, wow. Just past the turn back.
That is surprising.
It is. That means no Courser, no other piece of mana acceleration, no Pelucranos, no a lot of things.
I suspect Courser is no longer in his deck.
Okay.
I think Courser and Nissa are for matchups where it's a little bit about card advantage. Usually you're kind of casting your cards on time. You're winning the game with threats like Whisperwood Elemental. And this is not that kind of matchup.
Sure.
It's about just getting ahead of schedule into something that matters. So not surprising to see Ross not have Courser, but it is surprising to see no more mana creatures and no Pelucranos to play either.
Yeah, nothing to play that turn is much of a surprise to me. Heck, I even forgot about Xenagos. Tuan has Xenagos. Might be bringing a Satyr token along with it. No good attacks to have here, however, because of that carry added.
I disagree. You can absolutely still attack.
Wishful Elemental going to bring a Manifest along with it. To win we go. He's the one with an active Xenagos. So it appears a bit of a mana advantage as he draws a copy of Pelucranos. See if he can take advantage of it here.
So Tuan has his own Whisperwood Elemental here, which it appears that he does. Then this gives him the opportunity to really pull ahead mana-wise with Xenagos the following turn.
Here's Whisperwood. Here's a Manifest. Is there any way for Ross to capitalize this turn is the question.
Though I think there may have been a misstep that turn from Tuan, as I believe he has a Caryatid in hand. So I think he could play Caryatid first, then plus the Xenagos, then have enough mana to cast Whisperwood. Unless he wanted to have an extra blocker back on defense to protect the Xenagos, but he's got a good defensive board already.
Merriam going to cast Roast. Go after Whisperwood Elemental. You have to assume that, given that Ross didn't do anything on the third turn, that he's probably got some reactive spells in hand.
Yeah, I mean, the Roast totally makes sense with what's happened so far. And the Roast is so good here for Ross because now the attack from Whisperwood Elemental on Xenagos, assuming he makes it, forces Tuan to either lose the Xenagos or lose one of his creatures.
Yep.
And a creature here is not only a creature, but it's also mana from the plus power next turn.
Now there's the concern, I suppose, that if Ross does attack with Whisperwood Elemental into Xenagos, Tuan could say, I'll double block, but maybe Ross is okay with that exchange. I'll kill 2 of your creatures. You kill my Whisperwood Elemental, and then we move forward accordingly. So we'll see. The one thing we don't know is what the manifest is for either player right now. Looks like Satyr Token might jump in front. Appears that it will. Merriam will pass priority. Satyr Token will bite the dust. Does Merriam have a good follow-up? Looks like the answer is no. And it looks like he almost forgot that Whisperwood Elemental trigger, but he got it. Tuan will untap. He'll take a draw.
Having Elvish Mystic down is pretty awesome there for Tuan as he got to unmorph it and then might have thrown off Ross's math on how much mana exactly Tuan would have available for this turn.
Yep. Xenagos is going up. It's going to generate 2 mana. Here's 3. Maybe. A little unsure at this point. Seven feels like a Dragonlord Atarka. Seven is a Dragonlord Atarka. And it takes down Whisperwood Elemental. Merriam will untap, a couple of cards in hand. We know he does have access to 2 plummets in sideboard.
I'm starting to think Ross just must have a lot of lands in hand because he's been saying go with mana left over on a bunch of turns. He's had good opportunities to make a big play.
He has a Dragonlord Atarka as a manifest. Looks like these Dragonlord Atarkas are going to trade. What's interesting about that turn is that's a turn where Ross could have made an attack with Dragonlord Atarka, just as the manifest. Mm-hmm. And then maybe Tuan says, I'll block with my Caryatid. And then the Ross says, unmorph, 3 there, 5 to your Xenagos. But the question I suppose you have to ask yourself is, does he want to actually kill Xenagos and Caryatid, or does he actually want Tuan to block with his Dragonlord Atarka because he wants that off the table?
I'm sure Ross made the process there himself the same way you're describing, and if he went face up and attacked, I'm sure he was trying to trade with Dragonlord Atarka.
Sure.
Makes me wonder, because the play you're describing is very attractive, I wonder if maybe his other manifest is a Dragonlord Atarka. Because that would explain making it really sweet for Tuan to block that turn and leave your other manifest down.
Sure. Tuan gonna do more math. And Xenagos out on the battlefield. Elvish Mystic, Sylvan Carry added a bunch of lands.
And this might be a spot where the way that Tuan has built his deck differently is an advantage, because he has his one copy of Nykthos in play, same as Ross, but instead of having a second Nykthos, he has a Haven, and now there's Dragonlord Tarka in the graveyard.
Yep. And that Haven could play a pretty big role in things. Seems like an irrelevant one of, but that might not be the case. Tuan really unsure of himself at this point what he wants to do. Looks like he's going to go with Whisperwood Elemental.
Again, when you have Nykthos and Whisperwood Elemental and Xenagos in play, just count up. It's 1 for being a creature. Count up the mana symbols, subtract that from the converted mana cost. That's the actual cost for your mana that turn.
So 2.
Yes. It's a lot easier than trying to do the math as you go, because it's constantly changing. So you need to develop these shorthands.
See what we have next. Looks like Lukranos is on the way. Yep. Now Haven of the Spirit going to be sacrificed to get back to Dragonlord Tarka. Manifest there from Whisperwood Elemental. And now another uphill climb here for Merriam.
Yeah. Tuan has the most powerful and relevant, second most powerful and relevant, and third most powerful and relevant card in play right now.
What's interesting about this is that Ross is always the one drawing to the most powerful card in the matchup, though, because he has the Ugin in the sideboard. So that is a draw that Tuan can't compete with.
Well, Tuan has his own main deck copy of Ugin.
That gives him a slight advantage.
Yeah, but
at least let's
it's 1-1.
Yeah.
And it at least gives Ross some hope.
It's unclear what Merriam drew this turn, but he's certainly got some thinking to do now. Does have a copy of Lukranos.
And Ugin's so powerful in this spot, too, because all of Tuan's, not only his permanence, but his mana evaporates as well. He's down a bunch of mana creatures and Xenagos. He goes down to just having 4 lands in play and a manifest token.
Top card going to go to the bottom. See what's next for Merriam after playing that Temple of Abandon. Oh boy.
Well, if Ross is playing towards Ugin right now, there's nothing to be gained by killing anything or playing his own stuff, because he knows the stuff he plays is going to get killed by Dragonlord Tarka.
Yep.
And or it's just killed by the Ugin, assuming that Ross can play it and use it.
Yep.
So he kind of has to just hope to survive this turn. Maybe Tuan plays out his whole hand here.
I'm curious as to what maybe the morph or the manifest is for Merriam. He kind of speculated a little bit ago that we might think it's another Dragonlord Tarka.
The fact that he was so aggressive in offering up a trade, especially with Tuan having Haven of the Spirit Dragon in play, makes it feel more likely than normal to me that that's what's going on here.
Okay.
It would also explain saying go here with 7 mana available.
Yeah, likewise, yeah, I agree with that too. Tuan with the Radical Mystic as Dragon Lord Tarka in hand. Active Xenagos, which has 6 counters on it, so we're in ultimate range. There's a lot going on here. Xenagos is +5 mana if he wants to go that route. If he wants to go the Nykthos route, that can make a lot of mana too. There's a lot to take into account right now for Tuan Nguyen. It is very strange to see your opponent play a temple, scry to the bottom, pass the turn with cards in hand and think, you don't have anything? Just don't buy it. Well, here comes a ton of mana. Could be maybe a Pelucranos activation. Who knows what? What's interesting, just it feels like from a distance that Ross is trying to lull him into some sort of mistake.
Well,
just don't know what it is.
There's the question of what's going on with that manifest, and then there's the question of, does Ross already have Ugin, or is he aware that that's his only way out of the spot realistically? And is there a way to induce as much as possible out of Tuan, so if Ugin is the card, Tuan can't beat him with a follow-up?
Xenagos is going to go up to 7 now. So there's even more mana. You can see keeping track of it there. With our mana counters. 14 green. 2 red. Sword of the Animist. That's a new one for Magic Origins. Many believe probably going to be pretty good with Battle of Zendikar.
Yes, that would make sense.
As most believe that the landfall mechanic is going to come back. And if that is true, well, this is very good then. It also even has Zendikar flavor text. You called it. Oh, okay, it's an Arbor Class. It's close, close. Yeah. I thought that was a Dragon Lord Ojutai, or Dragon Lord Tarka, excuse me. So Pelucranos fought for 5. Arbor Colossus is a 6/6, however. And I think we're going to get a little equip here. Now keep in mind, Arbor Colossus does have 5 damage on it. Even though Pelucranos didn't kill it, the damage is still on there. Yeah. Here comes the manifest creature. I suppose the question is, anything else going to attack here? What's also notable there is that Arbor Colossus provides 3 green for Nykthos. Maybe Ross needs that. The tricky thing here is that we don't have a great look at Merriam's hand at this point. We know that Tuan Nguyen is working with the Dragon Lord Tarka in hand. That's about all we know. Tuan gonna make sure he searches for a land here with his sword. Ross is ready to block now. Ross was, boy, he was ready to block so fast too. It feels like we have Ugin coming, or at least trying to draw towards Ugin. Something.
If he's chump blocking, he would need to have an untapped land, assuming that he's chump blocking with the Sylvan Caryatid.
Yeah. Just with how quick he's ready to block, it seems like he has Ugin. Or at least he's trying to draw towards Ugin, and that's his only out in this situation. And that's the way he feels. Because Tuan is presenting a pretty good attack here. Really large Pelucranos. manifest creature that has +1/+1 because of the sword. Merriam's had enough life that he could probably just take this damage too.
Yeah, he's not forced to block just now, but if he's on Ugin or bust anyway, he's going to lose his own board when he activates Ugin. So there is an incentive just to block now and save yourself the life total if you're going to lose everything anyway. Also, you know, his life total is high, but Pelucranos is hitting for 10. 10's a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not a lot. There's a manifest from Wishwood Elemental. All right. To Ross Merriam we go. He'll draw. You've clearly been setting up something.
Although the problem now is, you know, even if Tuan has, or excuse me, Ross has Ugin, he's had Whisperwood for enough turns here where he's going to just have manifest tokens left over.
Yeah. Here's Pelucranos. Merriam will pass. His turn, a very short one. We go to Tuan. He'll draw a card in Arbor Colossus. His turn could be a pretty long one. Has Whisperwood Elemental on the battlefield. Already used Pelucranos, can't do that again. Unclear what that manifest is. Because then it goes to activation would generate a lot of mana, and there's actually two manifests out there now, one with the sword, one without. And that Dragonlord Tarka is still in the grip.
A lot of resources to work with, threatening lethal to Ross this turn. Ross is basically hand up. I mean, he has the option of activating Pelucranos inside of combat.
For some amount.
But that's about it.
And Tuan doing the math. There's 6 devotion out there for Merriam.
And part of this is, you know, Ross may not have Ugin in hand right now, probably doesn't, and may not have it, you know, anywhere near the top of his deck. But Tuan has made enough mechanical errors and so forth that Ross's plan might be just gum up the works, make it tough to do the combat math, and hope that either Tom slips up and attacks with too much stuff, or just says, I'm not attacking at all. And that can give Ross a lot of draw steps either way.
I mean, what it feels like is Ross is just, he's trying to play as best he can towards Ugin. And he's trying to get these manifests off the table.
Yes, and he's trying to get the manifests off the table because if he does find Ugin, that's the leftovers he has to worry about.
Yeah. Now, the unique thing about what this sword is doing is that it's actually adding lands to the battlefield for Tuan. So he's actually able to start hard casting spells again, because most of the time with Devotion, a lot of your mana is generated by creatures, and then Ugin would sweep those away. Well, the sword's actually adding lands to the battlefield, so we could see a situation where Ross does draw Ugin, cleans everything off, and then Tuan says, okay, I will cast my Dragonlord Tarka.
Exactly, and a couple turns ago, it looked like if Ross was able to find Ugin, Tuan would have lost all of his mana. He would have been down to 4 lands, and Ross would have had several clean turns of development before he had to worry about something like Dragonlord Tarka. But now, with Tuan having attacked with sort of the Animus for a little while, hard casting, as you mentioned, is going to be easy.
The manifest creatures are going to die, and Pelucranos got chump blocked. So the manifests were a forest and a wooded foothills. Pelucranos got chump blocked. Ross does have 8 mana on the battlefield. Ross is really, He's trying to exhibit as much strength as he possibly can right now. It's admirable. I don't think he has much in his hand, and he's trying to draw the perfect card. But boy, is he trying. And if I'm Tuan, I just want to find ways to get this thing over with as fast as I can. It's obviously not that easy. So we got a Xenagos ultimate now. There. Oh, my.
Okay. That's a lot to work with.
A Hornet Queen, a Rattleclaw Mystic, a Nykthos, a Dragonlord Atarka, a Whisperwood Elemental, Sylvan Caryatid, and a Temple of Abandon. Here's Ross, so nice helping. Giving the opponent 4 insects. Jeez. What a giant beating that just was. Top card going to go to the bottom from the Scry from the Temple. Dragonlord Atarka gets to trigger. That's fun.
Not that powerful here. I mean, Ross can keep the Pelucranos alive probably, and Arbor Colossus has it on lockdown.
Well, don't forget the Pelucranos has damage on it.
Oh, sure, yeah, it
from
blocked.
The block, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, sure, kill that thing too.
Yep. Pelucranos gonna fight some stuff, it appears. Now it's not even clear if Ugin gets him out of this now.
Well, it's still a reset.
Reset-ish.
Tuan's got a million awesome cards left over in his hand.
Yeah. It's I say reset-ish because there are 2 Whisper Elementals in play.
Yeah,
so 2 more manifests are going to come.
Yeah. Ross was just sort of barely hanging on in this game to begin with. And then, 27,000 mana worth of converted mana cost creatures comes into play. Powers are probably going to bury him, but Ugin still might give him one more turn. We'll see how it goes.
It's possible. It's possible.
And just for good measure, Arbor Colossus.
Yeah, sure. This too, just in case you draw a Dragonlord Atarka. Ross.
I mean, he missed his Whisperwood Elemental triggers there.
That's actually true. That's actually true. Yep. But no Ugin off the top of the deck. So Tuan Nguyen's going to win this match over Ross Merriam 2-1. The Green-Red Devotion mirror goes to the player on the right, and he will have the difficult task of defeating Logan Mize in his white-blue heroic deck. That's going to be hard.
Going to be tough. We know, that matchup is very solid for Logan. We saw in the semifinal match as well, and one match to go for Logan here to get